All right, sweet. So thank you guys for joining today's workshop. Today we got some exciting stuff for you. We're going to be talking more about going deeper into the forensic stuff, and we have some activities to help out with that. Let's see. So I don't have a specific slide for some of the activities. I know Sal was going to be talking about some the SQL stuff. He has the slide ready for that. But until then, all the things that we need for now should be in the Fast Discord. So on the Discord, the one of the channels at the top should be labeled as workshops. There's going to be a whole bunch of information there for the stuff we'll do today. So I guess we'll kind of jump straight into it. So the objectives for today is we're going to be talking about hex editors. Uh, and then Sal's gonna be helping out with uh, SQLite and CQ browsers and being able to look at databases and doing database forensics. And finally, we'll be talking about SleuthKit and how we could go ahead and install disk images and then use SleuthKit to analyze them. So for, I guess, the first one here, uh, if you go ahead and look in the workshops channel, we have a link to the HXD download. So that's going to be the hex editor we're going to use. Go ahead and install like the English version of it. So if I share my screen, give me 1 second. So if I click on the link, should get a browser that looks like this. And if you scroll down, you get the Windows version here. I don't know if they have one for Mac, actually, now that I think about it. So I'm blind. Because for myself, I just went to the download page and then installed the one that says English right here. And then you go ahead and click download per HTTPS, and it should be able to install it. If there's anyone who's not using Windows, we might have to find a different hex editor. Um, there's also another one that I installed called, let me see. It's called Hex Editor Neo. It's also a popular one. So I just installed it from here as well. If you want to go and use that, it should be fine. Both are pretty similar, and it shouldn't be too big of an issue for the first exercise that we have. So let me know if you guys are able to install that. And then along with that, we're also going to install the image as well of the garden. It should be called garden.jpg. There should be two hex editor files that will go over, and the third one will kind of be another file that we'll use kind of as like a challenge. And just as a precursor, I took like a good amount of these activities from Pico CTF, which provided a lot of good activities. So our goal for some of these will be finding flags, but we won't necessarily submit it or anything. We'll just be looking at how to find them. Okay. All right. So for the people in the room, do we all have like a hex editor installed? Are we good? Okay. Um, let's see. This is what it looks like for me. Um, with the top left here, this folder button, we could choose one. All right, this one. Okay, we could choose any of like our downloaded files to put into the hex editor to see them. So I think we're gonna start with the first one. I think it should be called hex editor one. It's a lot of stuff here. Okay. So hex editor one. As we talked about on Tuesday, with the layout of the hex editor here, the left side is going to be our hex dump. It's just going to be a whole bunch of hex values that represent our file, and the right side is going to be the decoded text. So first, I'd like to thank out Matt because he helped give me some resources and specifically the two hex files with that's on the Discord. I got it from him, so thank you, Matt. So for a bit of context on what you might be able to find in a hex editor, so because you could put in almost any file. You could use hex editors to kind of filter through any kind of file you want, give or take. And so I believe this one that Matt sent, it is the history for um, what apps a phone went through or what apps a user went through on their phone. And it kind of links to the transition of when that happened. So just to kind of have like an example, like a real world example, we have this file here. And so if you look closely, we get stuff like Duolingo, which is obviously like an app. And I believe there's also some other ones in there as well.
Is that an image of like one of Matt's poems?
I think it might be. He gave me I asked him for forensics images and then he or not images, but like forensics files, and then this is one of the ones that he had.
So you're probably just like an image.
Yeah, it was being a little bit lazy. It's from the biome of the iPhone that I have. So it's, yeah, like you said, some stuff about activities that a phone was going through. So I think that was app launch, the app launch one, correct?
Yeah, I think so. It's not the yeah, it's not the now playing. So it's that. So I tried, but it's a bit finicky. So I don't know where the mic if the mic's working for this. So, but I'll just repeat it out for the people here. So yeah, this is the on launch kind of information. You got some, I think if you go in deeper, you get some stuff like Safari. So overall, this isn't gonna tell us a whole bunch of information, but we are able to see what apps maybe a user has or went through, and we're able to do that with the hex dump. And this is really long, so actually, well, I guess most of this is just like null information, but we're able to see some information through that.
Oh
So
yeah, and one thing that I didn't do is give Saul the knowledge c.db so that we can kind of correlate to some of the stuff because I know that knowledge c.db in this one and the biome also have a lot of similarities to each other. So from some of this stuff you can find in knowledge c.db and see what times those activities took place.
gotcha. Okay, so you could use the information here with some other tools
Mhm.
to be able to get more information out of them and get some dates.
And Matt, if you can hear me,
Yeah, I can.
is there any way to kind of fast track that data like processing? Because it's like a lot. Is there any way to kind of like, I don't know,
Oh,
like
what?
everything?
Fact check.
No, like run scripts, like be able to find data a lot easier.
Oh, I think, let's see. Yeah, are there any tools that could help us parse through the data? I don't know. Oh, I mean, there's like a simple search thing. I mean, maybe that's like the best thing you could do, but I think there might have some tools for that.
Yeah, this is very limited in what you can do with it, but I'm very sure that there's other parsers for files like this that you can put those files into and get exactly out of it what
Gotcha. Okay,
dates
good
and
to know.
times out of this one.
Sounds
Because
good.
there might be dates and times in there.
Okay, yeah. With that being said, I think we could go into just like kind of like our next example. So this is going to be a hex file that represents the information for the now playing section on an iPhone. So when you're playing like music or video, uh, you have like when you first open up your phone, you get like the now playing. So this file has some information on that. You got a lot of weird junk in the beginning, but if you do scroll through, you eventually get some more information here. And yeah, Matt, if you want to talk to us more about this file, we think we could do that. But from what I know, The most common thing that you see is this com.apple.webkit.gpu, which I believe tells us I forgot exactly what it was telling us, but it think it's talking about what it was using to either play the music or display the thing. I'm not too sure, Matt, if you want to
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure WebKit is related to the browser, so it was something that was playing, or actually, yeah, WebKit.gpu that mean maybe a GPU process on the phone.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that is because WebKit relates to browser stuff, and the GPU thing implies that the GPU is being used to render something.
Yeah. I got some stuff about Chrome here too. So I think we'll have to dig a bit deeper to find like the specifics of what this file could give us.
I'll
But
find the
overall,
key
just a
field.
simple example of hex editors and how we could translate different files into something that we could decipher and encode. Not all the files we have are going to be simple text files and files that we could kind of go over. So hex editors are really helpful in that. And when we're doing CTFs, like the activity we'll do next, they often try and hide flags or information on these hex files. So with that said, we'll go on to our next file, which is the garden image. So if you guys installed that, you can look at that now. So garden.jpg. Because we could put any file in a text editor, we could also put images and other information. And so for this one, you're going to be looking for a flag. I'll give you like a minute to find it. It's not that hard to find. So go ahead and look through and then try and see if there's anything unique about this file, and then we'll kind of talk a bit about it.
Oh, I see here that it has a Hewlett Packard or Hewlett. It's it's made by something with Hewlett Packard,
Mm-hmm.
the metadata.
Yeah. I forgot to mention too, a lot of these files can come with metadata, and that will be included at the top here. As Matt pointed out, we have some information about Hewlett Packard and some other things.
Yeah, the color spaces and some other stuff.
Mhm. One more thing I want to mention is the idea of file signatures. I don't know. No, this won't show up. Um, try and share my whole screen here. Right. So again, as we talked about file signatures, when we talk about the hex dump, the first couple of values could are also referred to as the file signatures. These first values tell us more information about what type of file it is. So if we go to like, for in this instance, which is pretty cool, if we go to JPEG here, we see that the value for that is going to be FF, DA, FF, and then DB. They have some other versions as well here, but they all correspond to the same thing. And so if we go to our hex editor, we see that the first value is FFD8, FFE0, which is correct to the value that we have here. I think easier this one. Yeah. So the second one, I think they have some more stuff in there, but the file signatures match with the extension that we have. This is helpful when we don't have labeled extensions on our files. And as mentioned on Tuesday, it could help us give more information about that. Okay. So I think that's enough time for people to find the flag. So for this one, it's pretty simple. If you go all the way down to the bottom, they just hit a really easy flag there. So Pico CTF, and then the key. So really simple. It's just at the bottom, but you can hide a lot of information in these files, especially since this is an image as well. Even though the image itself doesn't have text explicitly, the hex files could be a place where certain phrases or keys could be hidden. And so that's an example of that. Okay, so our last thing with the hex editors that we're gonna do. This one's a bit more tricky, but it's one of the interesting things that I found, or one of the interesting challenges that I was able to come across. And so challenge file here. I don't think that we'll be able to figure it out on our own, but I want you to guys to kind of take a look and figure out how we could get like a possible flag from this, because a flag is hidden on here, but it isn't explicitly written in the decoded text. And so I'll give some people to kind of look through it and try and figure out maybe like a dot solution. But yeah. The first thing I would start with too, if you're having trouble, is to kind of figure out what file it is in the first place.
The fast meeting?
Hey, Bryce. Okay. I'll go over maybe like 2 to 3 more minutes, and then we'll kind of talk about it together. Mm-hmm.
What is this from?
So this is HXD. It's a type of hex editor. The download should be in the workshops channel in the fast Discord if you want to go ahead and install it. We're just looking at a couple files here and then seeing how we could use it to find either CTF flags or other things like that. This will be the last thing that we'll do, and then we'll move on to SleuthKit and then SQLite / DB browsers. So you don't have to go ahead and you can only install if you want and then take a look at it, but we'll be moving on to that after this. So is anyone able to figure out what's with this file?
So is it something like the top is I mean, it's an image file, but it's a little bit corrupted?
Yeah, it seems a little corrupted, but I'll tell you what, it's not. So it's a legitimate file. It's just something about it is unique and maybe not. It's subtle, but if you're able to kind of figure it out, then it gives us a lot of information. And so, is anyone able to try and find out what type of file it is? Did it match any file signature that you found? Oh, I gotta say that those first 4 hex characters, or first 4 I guess pairs do kind of look familiar.
FF.
Does anyone know what that might be? Those values? Perhaps those values showed up in a previous example. I'll give one more minute before kind of going into it, because it's pretty unique, but it's also kind of cool. So I wasn't able to completely find like the flag on my own, but I did kind of spot one thing. So we have E0, FF, D8, and then FF. Those values are the same ones that we found in the garden.jpg one. Actually, no, was it? Yes, it was. This one all the way at the top. So the file signature has the same values, but in a completely different order. And then it's kind of grouped in bits of four. So you have those four, and then you have 00104846. If you go to the challenge file, the next four here is going to be 464A1000. So it's the same values, but reversed in the other order. So it's kind of weird. Why is that? You know? Does anyone happen to know what that means? Okay, that's fine. Just gonna use kind of search it up. So this concept here, you may be familiar with it, but it's the difference between big endian versus little endian. So when data is stored in a file, there's roughly two different like ways it could be stored. The first one is called big endian and the second one is called little endian. So this image might help a bit, but as we saw, it kind of represents how the first like significant bit is placed. So actually, we'll just go back to the hex file. When we have the JPEG file here, we can say like the first significant bit is the FF right here. So the most significant bit, FF, is all the way to the left. And we'll call this big in endian. So big endian, left to right, it's going to be FFD8, FFE0. Little endian is the opposite of that, where the most significant bit is on the right side and starts from right to left, basically. So that's why we have this here, we have FF and then D8 starting to the left of that. The most significant bit, FF, is actually on the right. And it does this for every four, I guess, I don't want to say bytes, but for every four hex values, it kind of repeats. So we still have like the same order within every four, but the order within each four is reversed. And that's how you know it's little endian versus big endian. So if you're able to catch that, that was really good. But the main thing for this was I wanted you guys to see that the values were the same, but it was in a different order and to kind of figure out maybe why that was. But overall, it's pretty tricky to like kind of go through this. So when I was looking up the answers to kind of like figure out how it worked, we want to, because the decoded text here in the hex editor, it's using big endian, and it thinks that the file is big endian and it's kind of showing us that. We want to see the file in the little endian format. And I think there's other hex editors that allow you to do this easily, but I was having trouble kind of converting it. So one of these solutions that I found was to basically create like a Python program that'll be able to kind of convert it for us. Oh, whoops. Okay. Open. So this is just to help see it easier. And if the code doesn't seem familiar, that's fine too. It's just I just wanted to kind of explain the concept. So yeah. So with our first function, I'm just converting the file to hexadecimal. And then with the little to big endian function, I'm basically swapping the order to convert the file to big endian. And then from there, I just turned it into a JPEG because we know that it's a JPEG file. And after it kind of does all that, we get the out function, which is just a JPEG file. So when we open that, the JPEG file reveals the actual flag here. So I think this was a pretty cool example because it showed how like sometimes you need to see like the difference between that, and there's a lot of different steps to be able to find it, but even if you can't see it, it's still there. So I thought that was a really cool example, and I didn't expect people to be able to do it on the fly right now, which is fine, but I just wanted to tell you guys about how you could use the hex editor in different ways and what kind of information I'll be able to show you. So, all right. So I think in terms of hex editors, that's it. So, does anyone have any questions before moving on? Okay. So for the next one, depending on how long it takes to download, we might move to the DB browser first, but we're going to be talking about SleuthKit, and how to use like some of the utilities and tools it has. So if you go back to the workshops channel, we have the link for downloading SleuthKit if you want to go and click on that. And I don't think it should take too long. But if it does, let me know, and then we could do something else while that loads. But let's see. Yeah. So if you click on the link, there should be the Windows binaries or the source code. The source code is for, I think, Linux and maybe Mac. And the Windows binaries is going to be for people with Windows. We might take some time to configure it because what you have to do, you do need to put the path of where you store the binaries for SleuthKit in your environment. So that might take a little while. And if people aren't familiar with that, I'll help out with that. Okay. Who here has Mac? Is it just you? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm on Mac and I tried it and it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy process.
Crazy as in what way?
Not crazy as in it didn't work for me.
It did or didn't?
I said it didn't.
It didn't? Oh, okay.
Okay,
You,
well, I have it. I thought I was going to be able to get the GUI version of it for Autopsy, but it
oh,
didn't work out that way.
okay. I wonder
I
if,
have the sleuth kit, like the sleuth kit proper, the proper one for the command line on online though. So we could just pass it through with commands or whatever, but I don't have the convenience of GUI online.
oh yeah, we'll be using the console version for this.
Okay.
Yeah. I know there's a, I don't know if it's, I don't know if SleuthKit has a GUI because basically what SleuthKit is, it's a, let's see.
Isn't Autopsy the GUI version of sleuth kit?
Honestly, that makes sense. Yeah. So SleuthKit itself is a whole bunch of useful command line tools um, that helps us parse through different disk image files and other forensics things. And I think Autopsy is like the GUI version of that, so it's a bit more automated. But we'll be talking about just the SleuthKit commands for us here. So let's see. I think if you go ahead and install the tar file, that might help for people with Mac. But for the Windows people, I think the Windows binary should be enough. Okay, so what I had to do, I had to get the file location. After extracting, once you get the file path for where it is, you're gonna go ahead and copy paste the file and path and then put it in your environment. So for myself, I think it's in my program files, but we could just use the downloads for now. Let's see. Does everyone have it downloaded? Yes? Okay. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So if you go to your folder and then just copy the path here, um, you could then go into your Windows binaries by searching up environment. And then once you click on environment variables, you'll get like a pop-up here that looks like this. And the whole reason we're doing this is so that we could access it from anywhere on our terminal. We want to make sure this path is available so that when we go ahead and try and run a command, it will be able to find where all the commands are stored. So for myself, if you go to path here and you press new, Actually, let's see. If you go edit, oh, here it is. Yeah, new. Wait, hold on. Okay. So if you go ahead and edit your path variable, you could get a whole bunch of stuff here. And if you go ahead and click new and then put in the file path that you copied, you should be good to go. Oh, sorry, it's gonna be the file path and then slash bin to specify your binaries. So go ahead and take some time to do that. And the best way to the way to check that, my console here. So if I do mmlv dash capital V, oh, why is it doing that? Is it different? Um, what was it? LS. Might be LS. Okay, it's MMLS. So if you put it in your environment, and you open up PowerShell or any other terminal, if you run the command MMLS, which is one of the commands that comes with SUITKit, if you do the slash capital V flag, it should print out the version, confirming that everything is good and that you can use it. Is anyone having trouble getting that? No? Okay. Ah. Mm-hmm.
Like download the link to find it,
Yeah.
copy the path to it.
Yeah, so you're gonna download it, you're gonna get like the zip file, extract that, and then wherever that folder, the extracted folder, get that path and then put it in your environment. I could help you if you want to. Yeah, give me just one quick second. So go to your path. Oh, sorry. Go ahead and delete that. But click on your path and then press edit. Then from here, do capital V. Oh, you might. I think you need to. I'll try to get on the list. I might need it to. Oh, actually, can you put up PowerShell? Okay. Is anyone on Zoom having trouble? Okay, we should be good then. All right. Let me share my screen. So we're gonna open up. We're gonna go ahead and open up our file. So if you installed the first disk image, right now I'm CD'd into that folder here. So if I do go ahead and print out using ls like the different files that we have, I have the disk flag image here. So go ahead and change your directory into that folder. And let me know if anyone else needs help too. All right, so moving on. So again, SuitKit gives us a collection of commands that we could use for disk forensics and other things as well. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one we kind of ran. So MMLS, if we go ahead and run that, it'll give us some information about our partition. So again, because the disk image is literally just like a file with data on it, the way we're gonna kind of parse through it is, or the way it's parsed is through different partitions initially. So running our commands, running this command gives us a list of partitions that we're able to see. So right here we have primary table unallocated, and then Linux, Linux swap, and Linux here. Okay. So this is gonna dump all those tables. All right. So from here, we could kind of dive deeper into each thing using FLS. So on the sort of the start thing here, we have indexes for where each like partition starts. And we could go ahead and select each partition by putting the value where they start with the -O flag. FLS is going to be the command we're going to use to kind of go through each partition on a deeper level. So if I do FLS -O 2048 and then the disk flag, we get some files here about the disk that we have. So we could go ahead and do this with some other stuff, but we're trying to look for like the main directory. Okay. So it's not really going to give us anything. Let's try the last one. All right, so we got something cool here. We're able to find the Linux directory. And on the left, we have like an index mapping for each one that we're able to access as well. So generally, I think what we want to do is find the root folder. So the root folder correlates with the value 1995. So what we can do is we can do FLS again and then mention 1995. And then we're able to get some more stuff here. And then we see that inside the root folder, we have my folder, and that has a value of 3981. So we could do the same thing and then put the value 3981 to see what's in that folder. And when we do that, we see that we have two folders here, two text files here, flag.txt and flag.uni.txt. If you want to go ahead and cat the information or get the file content, instead of running just like the actual cat command, we're going to run icat -o flag to give the start petition index the file name. And then since the flag.txt, or sorry, the flag.uni.txt, we're gonna try and open that because this one says Riello. So 302371, we're gonna put that in. And then it's gonna give us the content of that file, which is in this case the flag that we're trying to find for the activity. So just to kind of summarize, we have the mmls command to give us the different tables. We have the fls command that gives us the directories or the information from each partition. And then we also have the FLS with the target index that will give us specific directories inside folders and other information, and then icat to display the actual folder content. So that's pretty much it for the first file. We also have the second file as well, which I believe you downloaded. So this is also the same thing, has a different name for downloading, but it's also a disk flag image. So go ahead and change your directory into that, and then we'll go on to the next one. No, it's all good. All right, so moving forward, I think we're also trying to find a flag for this one. Let me just check real quick because I'm using a kind of like a write paper to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, I haven't actually tested this one yet, but we'll see how far we could get to this. So we're going to do the same thing with this one, mmls, the disk file, and then we get pretty much a similar partition outputs as the one before. So I'm going to go ahead and try and figure out where the main directory is. I have a feeling it's going to be in the same spot as the last one. It was like the one at the bottom that said Linux. So FLS-O 41168 and then disk. Yep. Okay, so this one gives us a directory. Same thing, we're going to try and go to the root file, see if there's something there. And again, same thing as the last one, we also get like a file, but this time it has an extension .enc, which most likely stands for encrypted. So for this activity, we won't necessarily be able to get the same content as before. As you can see, it's in like some jumbled up format, and we're gonna have to figure out what exactly happened to this file and how we could reverse that. So because the image that we have is just a whole bunch of like text, you could say, there's a way we could iterate through the image file to get some information that might be useful to us. So in Linux, or actually not in Linux, but one of the next commands we'll kind of go over is strings. So because I'm using Windows, I'm going to use WSL, which allows me to use Linux commands. So if we do WXL strings -td, the T stands for radix and the D is like decimal. So in some sense, we're kind of doing something similar where we're getting we're getting the content of the image in, I guess, like a decimal index. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So it's going to give us a whole bunch of information here, but this is all you can think of like the file content for the image. and it just keeps on going and going and going. Let's see if we could get to the top. So, right. So that again, that command's strings dash t d and then the file name for this. Let's see. And so obviously that's going to give us a lot of stuff, but we want a way to filter it. And one of the most easiest way to filter command or I guess text on Linux is through grep. And then we'll be doing that really quick. So for this one, we're gonna put in WSL string, same command actually as this one. And then we're gonna pipe it, which allows us to run another command using the content of the last one. So when we did strings, we got a whole bunch of information about every single text. And so when we pipe it, whatever command that we put, the input for that command is the output for the previous command. So if I go here, I'm gonna do grep-ie and flag.txt. We're gonna look for any instances of flag because we want to figure out anything that happened to the flag file, such as any, I guess, changes to the encryption. And so when we go ahead and let's see. I also forgot to put WSL here. So if I go ahead and run that, it does take a while because it's parsing through a lot of the data from strings, but this is the command line way of trying to get trying to, I guess, filter specific words from like the history or the image. I'll say history. Yeah. And I didn't look into what the -ie flag was, but if you want, you could either Google it or do man grep to get more flags for that or get more information. The man command just helps you find like detailed documentation for the commands you're interested in. While we're waiting, I do want to make a couple announcements. So the next week is going to be our last kind of fast workshop / week. So we'll have a Tuesday meeting and a Friday workshop to kind of wrap things up. Matt will be helping us and talking to us more about forensics in that activity or on that workshop day. And on Thursday, we also have a sort of holiday event along with other clubs like MISA, Swift, and I think WIT as well. Is there any more clubs?
Yeah, there's GDG.
GDG, okay. Gotcha.
They're GDG now.
I think so. I don't know. They might be GDG, but there's a lot of clubs that'll be showing up. So if you're interested, a lot of activities will be provided and we'll make an announcement soon. But hopefully I could see you there on Thursday, I think 7 to 10. So it's gonna be later in the afternoon, later in the night rather, but hopefully I'll be able to see you there. We'll be making ramen. That's crazy. We'll talk more about it on Sunday, but hopefully I'll see you there. All right, so going back, so we filtered out all the different things related to flag.txt, and we have this one command here, which is pretty interesting. So this is probably from the history of all the commands that the user ran. And we have OpenSSL AES 256 and a whole bunch of other stuff here, but this is probably the command that they used to encrypt the file that we were trying to unlock. So we know that for those of you who are familiar, or I guess not familiar, AES 256 is an encryption algorithm. And so what we want to do is kind of be able to reverse that. AES 256 also comes with a key that it uses, which we're actually able to see with in the command here, the unbreakable password. So we know that it was, quote, salted with the key here. And so we're going to try and go ahead and like reverse that. Okay, so let's go ahead and also look for anything remotely to salted. So instead of flag.txt, we're going to look for salted. see if we get anything. This might also take a while. Taking a while. Okay, so for this one, we also see like some extra logs. OpenSSL, the encrypted data with salted password. So I'm going to use OpenSSL, which I don't know if I have it actually. Oh, okay. So I actually don't have OpenSSL, so I can't actually uncrypt it or decrypt it. But if you have Linux, it should I think either Kali or Linux, any version of Linux, it should be installed. But the command, I'm just gonna write it down. So I don't know if you can. Oh, I just realized that it's really hard to see, huh? That's on me. Let's see. If I could- I'm not sure if I could change that. Oops. But I'll just keep going. So the command that is used to decrypt it, I'll post it in the workshop thing as well for the people who are interested. I think what you do have to do though is you need to either download the files or I think we need to download them onto our own side. It's able to find it on its own. I will post, give me 1 second while I post it on like the Discord just to show you guys what it looks like. But overall, this is just the command that they use with the following files to be able to decrypt the message. So give me 1 second. I'll post it on the Zoom as well, just to make it easier. I'll put on the Zoom. Okay, so that's the command to decrypt it with the salt that we have. Basically, the in stands for the file that we want to input. And the out file is the name of the out flag refers to the file that we want to output. So flag.txt is where we're going to get. -K is the key that we use. I didn't put the full password there, but with the AES 256 and with the salt, we're able to reverse to get flag.txt, which includes the actual code. So sorry that I wasn't able to do it here. I forgot to have OpenSSL installed, but that's pretty much gonna be the end for the SleuthKit stuff. For autopsy, as we mentioned, it is more of a graphical interface. So as we get into that, we'll kind of see some familiar concepts with the commands in SUITKit. So that being said, we still have around an hour left to finish up with the SQL browser. So I will go ahead and share like the rest of the slides that we have for that and then hand it over to Saul.
Yeah, if you want, if it's easier, I can just take my laptop.
I have the slides right here. Do you want to, is because you want to,
Yeah, I want to film
Okay.
it, when I tell the program and everything.
just go ahead and share your screen, and then I'll give you access.
Okay, cool.
And are
Well,
you
now
gonna
it's cool.
use your mic as well?
So I'm gonna use my mic.
Or are you gonna use like
Well,
your
I think you can
Zoom?
hear me because Matt was able to hear me.
Okay, that should be fine then.
Go ahead and share the first slide.
Sorry?
Go ahead and share like the slides. I mean,
Uh,
wait, never mind.
okay. I just need to give you share access.
I think you already have share.
Oh, you do? Okay. Can you use your camera? Yeah.
All right, can you guys all hear me? On Zoom?
Can you guys hear Saul?
Oh, wait. Well, I was hoping they were gonna hear me through that.
Oh, yeah, it's just not as clear. Is it okay? if you can-
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and unmute on my device. All right. So yeah, I'll be going over DB Browser for SQLite. Essentially what it is, it's an open source tool, and it kind of helps you out with creating, searching, and editing SQLite database files. And SQLite is very related to SQL, except it's a lot less, what's the word for it? Like a lot less heavy. So they usually use SQL for like huge databases, while SQLite would be more for like smaller databases, like those from like mobile applications. Also, like a lot of mobile devices use SQLite. So like all Android devices, all iOS devices, and I believe ARM processors use SQLite to store their data, as well as like other mobile applications like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. They always use SQLite. So it's super like relevant in the forensic field, just because let's say like you take away a criminal's phones and he has WhatsApp and he's talking with like criminals in like, I don't know, Canada. They can actually like access those WhatsApp. If they have the phone, they can access those WhatsApp messages and kind of go through it. So the reason why a lot of people like DB Browser is because it gives like a familiar spreadsheet like interface, which I'll show you guys in a bit. And then in addition, you're able to it provides you a full SQL query facility. So basically what that means is like you're able to browse the data like in an interface, and then also you're able to enter like SQL commands, which makes it a lot easier to like parse through that data. It doesn't require a separate installation of a database server. It's just a code library and a data file. So like super easy to install. As you guys will see, you can install it on Mac, Linux, and Windows. So yeah, how is it related to forensics? So like I was saying before, SQLite is built into all mobile phones and most computers, and comes bundled inside countless other applications that people use every day. So like I was saying, Apple, Android, WhatsApp, as well as like other configurations on an iPhone. So like, or any mobile device, like user preferences, cache data, text messages, photo data, metadata, so on and so forth. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. Oh, this like DB Browser is built into like several forensic tools like Autopsy. So like it's really useful for them. So yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and install it. So either go ahead and copy that link into your computer, or go ahead and go on the workshop chat on Discord. Either or is fine, and then go ahead and install it. Just make sure you're installing the correct one. So you'll see like there's a Windows installer, a Mac OS Universal installer, which works both for M Series Macs and Intel Macs, and there's also a Linux installer, which should work for most distributions if you happen to be on Linux. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give you guys like about 3 to 5 minutes, depending. And if you guys have any questions or issues installing it, just let me know and I'll be happy to help out. But it should be pretty straightforward. And then those on Zoom, you guys heard me all right? I hope so. Cool.
Is.
And then once you go ahead and once you go ahead and install it, just go ahead and open it. It should take you to a pretty common interface. And yeah, is anybody having any issues so far installing it? Yeah, pretty straightforward. You got it, Brad? Yeah.
Should be good.
All right, cool. So that's kind of what the interface looks like. So let me go ahead and stop sharing and then pull it up on my end. So give me 1 second. All right, so here's what the interface looks like. It should look very similar on all you guys' devices, no matter if you're on Windows or Linux. Does anybody have a different interface? Which you shouldn't.
It's a little different for Windows. Just a little bit.
Oh, it's slightly different.
Or on Windows, yeah.
Oh, wait.
This is screen. This is your screen. Pretty much the same though.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So yeah, there's several different things you can do with it, and we'll start analyzing data in a bit. So like, for example, here you can see the structure of the databases. So you'll be able to select tables that are in the database, any rows, columns. Browse data essentially that helps you kind of like visualize it a lot better. Execute SQL, pretty self-explanatory. You can go ahead and run those commands to make it a lot easier to parse that data. You can create a SQLite database and you can open a pre-existing one as well. If you go ahead and go to, I believe it's view, and then go ahead and uncheck SQL log, plot, database schema, edit database style and remote. When you uncheck all those like features, it'll make the interface like a lot better. Because I believe like the way mine is right now, it's just like three or like it's just like it's like one big interface, but you guys like the way yours is should be like split up into four. So if you can check those boxes on under view and then check the five boxes, you should be able to. Oh no. All right, give me 1 sec. Let me see if I can do the full screen share. Okay, cool. So if you go to view and then like for example, if I check this one, it will come up like that. So go ahead and go to view and uncheck all of them. And there should be like five of them that should be checked. So go ahead and uncheck all of them and your interface should look a little bit more like mine. And pretty much the whole purpose of that is just to make it a lot easier when we're analyzing data later down the road. Because if you have like, or at least me personally, when I have like so much things kind of going on, it makes it a little bit harder. And then on the Windows side, it should be pretty similar, just like still the view and just unchecking, unchecking, unchecking. And then like I was saying, like DB browser for SQLite is built into like Autopsy and other forensics tools. So that way, like I was saying before, if you're like analyzing like WhatsApp files or like user preferences files or whatever the files may be, you're actually able to do that on Autopsy. All right, cool. So once you go ahead and do that, now let me go ahead. Okay, cool. Go to this website. And then it's also on the Discord under workshops. and go ahead and install these two databases. One should be called American Community Survey, and the other one is 3.0 Earthquakes in a Continuous US. Yeah. When you go to that website, it'll be like it's unsecure, and then also like when you try to install stuff, it'll, like your computer might not let you. Just go ahead and install it anyways. The reason why it says that is just because it's HTTP instead of HTTPS. That website's actually like I forgot. I think it's sponsored by Yale or another university. But yeah, don't worry about that. As long as you install these two databases, and like you should be good. Well, you will be good. And then, like I said, I'll go ahead and give you guys like 1-2 minutes to go ahead and do that. Yeah, I kind of saw like I was looking for databases we can use for this lab, and when I came across the website, I was like, this is like a little bit sketch. But then I did some research, and yeah, it's not a sketch. And then obviously like this is like very different than like not very different, but like for example, like in a forensics environment, you'd be like analyzing like user preference data or like text message data, but we're going a little bit more on the simple route. Did anybody have any trouble finding those starter packs of data? No? All right, cool. So now we're gonna go ahead and analyze the first one. So go back to your DB browser for SQLite. Go ahead and click new database. And then go to, well, I need to download mine. Sorry, give me a sec. I was telling y'all to download it. I didn't even download it myself. All right, go ahead and go to DB browser, and to downloads, go ahead and open the American I forgot what it's called, but the one with the A, go ahead and open that one. And so like I was saying before, like under database structure, you're able to see 3 different tables that are in this database. So it'll be congressional districts, places and states, as well as you're also able to see the indexes. If you're not familiar with databases, pretty much the tables, what they are is like sets of data. So like for example, like all this would be one table of data. If I go back, I click a different like places, and I go back to browse data, it should show, oh wait, sorry. You switch tables right here. So if I go to places, it'll show me a bunch of different data. And if I go to the next table to states, it'll also show me a bunch of different data. So you can go ahead and play around with it, and kind of select the structure of the database as a whole, as well as kind of like the browse the data within each table. So like I was saying before, it would be pretty inefficient to kind of like go through this data one-on-one. So that's when we kind of go into SQL queries. So essentially, let me go ahead and go to the next slide. If you're not familiar with SQL as a programming language, it essentially helps you pull data from a database, in our case being SQLite. And so like here's a list of different SQL queries. It's a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I present it, it will be a lot easier. It's a little bit easier to see it. I'm sorry for joining so late. What would I do, guys? I think someone asked a question in the chat. Would you be able to?
I was not paying attention.
So yeah, so they have like select, from, where, as, and so among many others. And so when you're querying for data, it's always important that like you do it in a certain order. So for example, like think of PEMDAS. You know how like for PEMDAS, like it needs to be like a certain order of operation. Think of like doing queries the same way. So you need to start off with from where you want to pull from, like what area you want to pull that data from, where, group by, having, select, order by, and limit, and just doing a certain order. So here's what I mean by that. So if you guys can see on this query, it says select year, name, total population, median age, total households, and then from. So from where am I pulling that? What table am I pulling that from? It would be from the places table. And then what specific like attributes do I want in my data pool? In this case, it would be where median age is less than or equal to 25. And that will make more sense right now when I kind of put it into there. So let me go ahead and copy and paste this SQL statement and put it here. And then if I go ahead and hit play, I'll go ahead and execute and give me that data back. So essentially, I'm selecting, let's go ahead and go back to browse data. I'm selecting year, name. So the year column, the name column, median age and total household columns, they're also here. Median age and total household. I'm ignoring every other column, but I could ask for that. And then I'm doing it from places. So browse data, I'm pulling it from places, right? So, and then where medium age is less than or equal to 225. So if I go to medium age, anything that's under 25 will go ahead and show me that. And like I was saying, it brings me back that data and it makes it a lot easier to parse through it. I can literally change this to be anything. So let's say I want to look at, I don't know, GeoID. I can go ahead and add GeoID to this. So Geo, and then SQL DB browser for SQLite is pretty intuitive, so it'll give you like recommendations. So it knows that I'm going for GeoID. So I'm going to press enter, comma, and space, and then play it again. And it'll add GeoID. So the kind of the possibilities are endless just because you're able to query so much data and kind of go through it a lot easier. So yeah, any questions so far? So let's go ahead and run another query. And I'll go ahead and break it down once we paste it. So go ahead and copy, delete this one, paste a new one. And then so select total population and state. And then we're doing it from the states table. So states, and then we're looking for, like I was saying before, total population and state right here. And where's state at? Right here. Sorry, give me a sec. So that makes it a lot easier to go through the data. And so when you go ahead and press play, it'll just show you those two things. And then pretty much where name is equal to Alabama. So what I mean by that is if you go to, where's the name aspect? If you go to name, they have like Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, and like all the other 50 states. So I'm pretty much asking for the total population and the state where the name is Alabama. And like I was saying before, I can change it to pretty much anything. So let's say I don't really care about Alabama anymore. I want to do California. So go ahead and put California, and different data comes back to me. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Does anyone have any questions? All right, so go ahead and take like 2-3 minutes to kind of play around with the database, just run different queries. And let me go ahead and put the PowerPoint up to kind of help guide you with that. And those are all different SQL statements you can go ahead and do, and the order of operations you should go ahead and do them in. And I'll go ahead and give you guys like 2-3 minutes to kind of go ahead and do them. And then after, we'll go ahead and move on to a different data set. Hold on, let me mute myself.
I need you to figure out if this account is a bot.
They put like, it's there's a guy, yeah, put like in the general certification chat. He's giving out a free MacBook. So I was gonna say reverse image search the photos and see if they're stock images.
Oh, really?
All right, how are you guys doing? Pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next database. So we installed American Community Survey. Oh, so go ahead and move on to 3.0 earthquake. And in doing so, sorry, pretty much go ahead and open database and click the second one now. Open it up, and then it'll pretty much ask you like if you want to delete the old one or any progress you have on it, go ahead and delete it. And if it doesn't, then you're good. And once it's open, if you actually try running the queries from the other database, it'll give you an error now. So yeah. So same thing as before. You can see the database structure. So you can see like this one only has one table, which is Quakes, and it also has different indexes. If you go to browse data, here's all the data it gives you. So this data set actually has less tables than the other one we went over, but it has more data because the other one, I think each table only had like 52 rows. Well, this one has like 16,000, which is pretty massive. And also pretty cool to think about because there's like 16,000 different rows, which you're not running on your computer, which is like, and it's pretty lightweight. So yeah. I also, so go ahead and go to execute SQL. And then copy one of the queries that I put. So let me go ahead and copy, paste, and then I'll go ahead and give you guys like a few seconds to go ahead and copy it from this slide. Somebody asked a question. Yes, it can be done on MS SQL Server Management Studio. That one's a little bit more efficient. The only thing is like they have like a membership. It's not open source. It also costs you money and is a lot more heavy on your computer. So if you want like a more like lightweight application, SQLite would definitely be it. Also, MS SQL Server isn't built into like forensics tools like Autopsy or other things. Well, this one is built into it. But yeah, you can definitely go on MS SQL and go through this. I think well, if you're a CIS major, you learn this in 3100. Yeah. Um, so pretty much what this is saying is select. So what the star means is you're pretty much saying select everything. So select everything from Quakes, Quakes being the table, replace is equal to Colorado. So if I open this up, wait, my query did not work. Oh, there you go. Select everything from Quakes, so Quakes being the table, Quakes, and then replace is equal to Colorado. So if you go to place right here, if it says Colorado, go ahead and give me that information. And as you can see, it gives me like 127 different rows and giving me information about all the different earthquakes that happen in Colorado. And like I was saying before, you can go ahead and change it into pretty much anything. So like another place they have is Northern California. So let's go ahead and put Northern California. And it is case sensitive, so just make sure that you're spelling it correctly. So Northern California. Press play. And same thing, it gives me even, well, yeah, that makes sense. There's more earthquakes in California than there is in Colorado. So yeah. Um, same as before, go ahead and take 2 to 3 minutes to kind of go explore a database, run different queries, taking what I have on the PowerPoint into consideration with like the different select statements, and then as well as like the order of execution. And like I was saying, I'll go ahead and give you guys like 2 to 3 minutes. And does anybody have any questions so far on SQL as a whole, SQLite, DB browser, how it's related to forensics? Really?
It seems sus. I want to ban them.
Yeah, you should. All right, y'all. Yeah, I was signing. I was signing a monitor for like $40, but I wasn't putting on like different Discords. I like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I got it. ASI gave it to me for $50, but I don't need it because I had just bought another one. So I put on the past Discord like if anyone like bought it, I could have. It was pretty good. It was like a good one for like 2012, but I guess still pretty solid. Because like the marker's price back then for it was I think like 600, which is like a pretty good monitor for like back then. Because like even like think of it like in like dollars now, that's probably worth like 800, 900. That was a pretty good monitor.
Okay, wait, that guy was you?
The $50 monitor one or the one
Oh no, oh no, the computer. Oh no, never mind.
the MacBook one? That's me. I'm trying to give you a free MacBook. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that wasn't me. All right. So yeah, I hope you
Would have
guys
been
had
a
like
good play. That would have been a good play. Augusta, Georgia. What? You want my address? I don't know you. You want my address?
that's wild. All right, so I hope you
Silly
guys
degree.
go ahead, Matt. What was that?
He's actually doing it. He's trying to sell it to me. I'm just like, I just casually drop in there and I'm like, I want to buy it for my mom for Christmas. And he's like casually just taking my address from me.
Asking me if he does deliveries?
Huh?
Ask him
It
if he
can
did.
deliver through FedEx.
And it's gone.
All right,
Crazy.
so I hope you guys had fun running queries. Did anybody find anything interesting in this data set? Well, yeah, I don't have like a flag or anything, but
Yeah.
I was just asking like if anyone found like anything cool. All right, cool. So that pretty much completes my part. Like I was saying, we did analyze databases from like case studies done, but like in an actual scenario where you'd be like using DB browser on autopsy, you'd be like going through records like of WhatsApp, user preferences, text messages. Also, it would be a lot less clean. The data sets I provided are super clean, so they're pretty easy to query. Those that you find like on an iPhone are a lot more dirtier. And basically what that means is like the data is all over the place. There's like a lot of null values and all that. So that is a process when going through SQLite databases. You do want to clean that data. But yeah, any questions before I log off or anything else you guys want to see with DB browser?
Hello, hello.
Or go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. So you said the usually if you get it from like an iPhone or if you get data, it's from like a customer or something like that. If you're working like the industry, so it's a lot dirtier. Or, like, do you guys usually have a process to clean it up and make it easier, or do you guys just go about it? You know?
So like for example, can you see my screen?
Yeah,
If I go to browse data, some of the things are like, for example, like you see all these null values.
yeah.
So that's like one of the complications that can come up. Like there'll be a whole column that's all null. So like
Mhm.
if it's an important column, you can try to get more data on that. But if it's like not really important, you can go ahead and just delete it. And that's kind of how you go about cleaning data. Um, there's gonna be a lot of missing values. So like I was saying before, kind of just deciding on whether you want to do more research and find out what's in those values, or if you just want to scrap it all together to make the data more cleaner. There's also like several like scripts you can also find online that can help you out with that, but that would be like more industry level. Like there definitely is a faster way than just like manually going through the database and cleaning it yourself.
Okay.
Like not like that deep into data analytics. So like the only ways I know is just manually. But like I said, like I think like Mrs. D18, like they have like whole scripts to kind of clean data a lot more efficient.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
It's okay to wrap it up. So, I guess I'll just talk from here. They can see me. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna end the meeting here. One more announcement that I forgot to mention. I will put up a interest form for positions for the spring semester. Right now, we're looking for a director of events and or additional project leads or the research directors. It's a bit vague on like the wording, but overall, you'll be helping out with leading a project. And there's more information on the form, and I'll hopefully have that posted sometime later today. So if you're interested, there's an interest form for that. Yeah, you could go ahead and fill out. And again, this is going to be the 2025 spring semester. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for showing up. Again, we'll have one last workshop next week, and hopefully I'll be able to see you there for that. So
Also, the Mrs. Social.
oh, and the Mrs. Social, yes, on Thursday as well, which we'll also post. So other than that, we're gonna close up the meeting, but thank you guys for joining, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a good one.
Thank you.